If you've just joined us, welcome to the show. Don't you worry, the voice behind the mic today is slightly different. My name is Noro Matlaila. I'm standing in for Shayla Ndikumana, and today we are tackling GBV-related matters like we always do every Tuesday right here on African Diaries. And today we are speaking about parental alienation. And let me just bring you up to speed in case you've just joined us before we speak to our guests. Well, in an article in The Guardian published in June 2026, not so long ago, titled that a new research warns of parental alienation as a form of emotional abuse. A registered social worker, professional counselor, and academic affiliated with Nigeria Association of Social Workers, Oluwesun Jekede, has said that parental alienation is a subtle but damaging form of emotional abuse, capable of inflicting deep psychological wounds on both the children and the parents. She emphasized that recognizing parental alienation as a form of emotional abuse and domestic violence is crucial for healing, as children deserve more than to be pawns in adult conflicts. In recent research based on interviews conducted across 3 continents, she explained that parental alienation is not limited to high-profile custody battles or dysfunctional families, but can quietly develop in seemingly stable household. I think that is the scary part, right? So, to kickstart our conversation tonight, we speak to Gary Carl Da Silva, chairman of the Fathers for Justice South Africa, otherwise known as F4JSA. The numeric 4, by the way. And he is a relentless reformer, a strategic advocate, and the driving force behind equal parenting rights in South Africa. Now, for over 2 decades, he has been pushing a bold, uncompromising movement in the fight for automatic 50-50 contact, care, guardianship, and maintenance, otherwise known as CCGM, for both parents. He will be elaborating on that in our conversation today. Now, Gary is a no-nonsense reformer and outspoken strategist, and Gary has combined policy advocacy, direct mentorship, and public education to push for an overhaul of South Africa's family law system. At the core of his work, Gary is a revolutionary, at the core of his work is a revolutionary but simple belief, which is equal parenting should be the starting point, not the exception. And he is joining us on our YouTube live streaming at the moment. Gary, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Nola, and thanks for the great introduction. It's greatly appreciated. And welcome to all your guests tonight.
Thank you so much for making time to be with us. Listen, Gary, yes, you are quite a no-nonsense taker and relentless. As a matter of fact, first time speaking to you today, you cut straight to the chase. You want to know what is happening, what are we talking about? And I understand that there is real passion that lies within the work you do on Fathers for Justice South Africa. So let's start there. How did the organization come about, Gary? When did you feel the need to start such an organization? What had you noticed within the communities around you?
Okay, so to take a step back, the Fathers for Justice South Africa was started by Dr. Stephen Pretorius and Dr. Buerta and a couple of other guys. I joined circa 2004 when I separated from the mother of my eldest daughter, and I became public relations officer. I took over from Dr. Asif Suleiman circa, I think it was either 2006 or 2007 or thereabouts. And I was public relations officer for Fathers for Justice right up until August of 2019. when Dr. Stephen Pretorius relinquished the chairmanship, and I took over since 2019. And effectively, what we are campaigning for is for automatic joint equal rights of contact care, guardianship, and maintenance with, by, and of both biological parents of the child at all times. And we are saying that irrelevant and irrespective of marital status, culture, tradition, religion, or other norms and practices, the child must have daily physical, emotional, psychological contact care, guardianship, and maintenance with, by, and of both parents from birth at all times. You had the child together, you raised the child together. And the evidence is coming out of America. There's a huge drive in America to push for 50-50 contact care, guardianship, and maintenance in America, and they're already getting the results out. I mean, like, one of the main things, I think it's in Texas, I think, within 6 months of them introducing automatic 50-50 contact care, guardianship, and maintenance, there was a 50% drop in the making of false or perjury-based allegations of violence, abuse, or neglect. What is the single biggest problem that we as Fathers for Justice deal with is false, fake allegations against the father of violence, abuse, or neglect. Justice insiders that we have spoken to have told us that in excess of 52% of all protection orders issued in South Africa are based on false, fake, or non-existent evidence. They tell us that that figure is way north of that value. So the court's time is being wasted by unnecessary allegations that have no merit. So I hope I answered the question.
Yes, you did. I'm just a bit startled by the false, fake allegations, right? So how does I guess then maybe what I want to find out is how do parents or the parent that is being at the receiving end of this parental alienation pick out that there are false allegations against him or her for that matter, and does it have to get to a court situation for you to clear your name, or could you clear it within mediations with social workers?
Your social workers are a waste of time. They are not qualified. They don't come with the necessary legal and psychological training. They do not have in-depth training. So social workers, we are very skeptical of. When you talk about mediation, should these things be mediated? Yes, sure.
Yeah.
But unless you are giving both parties an opportunity to depart from a point of equality,
yeah,
it's a waste of time. So that is why we are saying that contact care, guardianship, and maintenance, irrelevant and irrespective of marital status, culture, tradition, or religion, must be automatic from birth. If you have a look at the United Nations Children's Charter, the African Union's Children's Charter, the South African Children's Charter, the Constitution of South Africa, the Marriages Act, the Divorce Act, the Mediation in Certain Divorce Matters Act, the Children's Act, the Maintenance Act, and any other act that I'm aware of, and please, if I'm wrong, you must point it out to me.
Yeah.
But nowhere in any of these charters or acts or Constitution of South Africa does it say that mothers have superior rights of contact care, guardianship, and maintenance of their children. But yet we are dealing with an extremely violent, gynocentric, misandrous justice system that goes out of its way to obliterate fathers. The entire system is geared towards removing fathers out of children's lives. And that is what we're saying is that either I'm the father to that child or not. I'm not an ATM.
Yeah.
Do I have a financial maintenance responsibility to that child? Absolutely, 1 trillion%. Yes, I do. But but to remove me out of the child's life is completely unreasonable. But yet we sit with statistics that have come out of America where they say that in excess of 50% of mothers see no reason for the father's continued relationship with the child post-divorce or separation. 40% of mothers have admitted, out of other research that we've looked at, where they have actively interfered in the contact between the father and the child.
Yeah.
Dr. Pinky du Toit of South Africa from the Sunnival Center tells us that between 85 and 90% of all parental alienation in South Africa is perpetrated by a woman.
I mean,
So, when it comes to false allegations, it's one of the single biggest problems that we have that we've got to deal with, because now it's incumbent on us, because we are not going to assist a father that is violent, abusive, or neglectful, or poses a material threat or danger to the child.
Yeah.
But now it's incumbent on us to now go and do proper investigation to prove that those allegations are indeed untrue. I mean, we have a full medical legal team that sit behind and go and have a look at all these false allegations of rape and abuse and et cetera, et cetera. The fact that in South Africa, outside of Fathers for Justice, you don't have an organization that actually investigates these allegations properly, both from a medical and from a legal aspect.
Yeah. So Gary, I just want to bring you back a little bit there. Unfortunately, what you're saying is true. And stats have shown that 65% of the parental alienation perpetrators are the women, the female, the mothers within the family. And so it's saddening to hear that. However, later on in the show, we will be speaking to a family lawyer just to find out how matters of such instances and the false allegations that you spoke about are handled within the family courts as well. Now, what I wanted to find out then from you then, Gary, as I did a little bit of some digging into Fathers for Justice South Africa, I did notice that the main objective was to push the 50-50 CCGM. And it was mentioned that a lot of fathers were not even aware of this. And you did remember about a decade ago seeing a father outside the family courts, and you did ask him if he asked for such, and you were impressed to know that he did ask for the 50-50 CCGM. Tell us about CCGM. Why was there not enough knowledge about it, that it is every parent's right? And, how can people equip themselves with that knowledge and use it to their advantage?
Okay, so I go back to the point of that nowhere in the Children's Act does it say that the mother is the superior parent. However, if you have a look at the family courts, the justice systems, the legal justice system, the lawyers, the advocates, the psychologists, the social welfare workers, they have refused to allow fathers anything more than visitation twice a month over the weekend. And it has been, you are speaking to the man, okay, that has pushed 50-50 contact care, guardianship, and maintenance for 20 years.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm the guy. Okay.
Yeah.
So any father that is getting 50-50 contact care, guardianship, and maintenance in South Africa today is because of my dogmaticness. Okay.
Yeah.
And the bottom line for me is, on what basis? I'm not saying, nowhere have we said that we want to take mothers' rights away, because in order to raise a child into a healthy, functional, well-adjusted, productive member of society, that child must have both its mother and father in its life. The mother absolutely brings aspects of the raising and development of a child into adulthood. Similarly, so does a father. We have got to equip our children to put them in the best possible position to be the best possible people that they can possibly be in their life. Where we are still dealing with lawyers, family advocates, magistrates. I mean, like there was a High Court judge out of Pretoria that came out about 4 or 5 months ago that says that she sees no value in 50-50 contact care, guardianship, and maintenance.
Sure.
Okay. So bearing in mind that 50-50 contact care, guardianship, and maintenance is the ideal, it is what we strive for. Okay. So just to take a step back, we started seeing 50-50 contact rulings come out circa 2019, and it lulled, obviously, because with the nonsense with the Great Deception in 2020 and 2021.
Is that what you call it?
The Great Deception, yes. So the bottom line is that we've started seeing, and now we are seeing fathers that are going out and asking for 50-50 contact, and they're getting it. But now what you've got to understand is that, you know, you can't take half of the month and the child stays with the father for 15 days with mom. It doesn't quite work like that.
Yes.
You've got to be a little bit more pragmatic, okay? The other thing is that from a 50-50 contact point of view is that you might not, I mean, like, logistically, if you have a look at it, once the child starts going to school, it's very easy for you to drop the child off on, say, a Friday morning, and then mommy picks up the child on Friday afternoon, and then you swap it out like that. Will it work like that all the time? Because obviously you've got to realize, will you be responsible for the child 50% of the time? Yes, you will. But the child might not be present in your life for 50% of the time. Why? Because they're going to school, they're going to play rugby and ballet, and they're going to their friends' birthday parties, and they are off visiting their friends, etc., etc. Yes. But from a responsibility point of view, will you have 50-50? That is what you should be looking at, taking responsibility for the child and making sure that you are being the best possible parent that you can be to that child. So, and that is what we're pushing for. But now the thing is that what we are noticing is that there is a lot of pushback, because now all of a sudden, from a maintenance point of view, mothers are not being able to get all the maintenance that they were getting. And maintenance plays a huge role in contact.
Yes.
And it is a huge bargaining chip. You know, you give me 10,000 Rand, I'll give you 30 seconds once a month. So that bargaining chip has been taken away. And that is why there is resistance against it.
Okay, so that's exactly where I was leading up to. I wanted us to actually tackle that. What do you think the motive is behind the mothers actually practicing this parental alienation? And of course, in most cases, the motive is with maintenance. However, Gary, you seem quite disappointed in our law and the justice system when it comes to what Fathers for Justice advocates for. And I just want to find out from you on the other side of this, why is that the case? Is it experiences that you've come across aside from the information you gave us there of the judge a ruling that they see no point in 50-50 contact care, guidance and maintenance? We will come back to that, and also just to find out then what is Fathers for Justice working on at the moment, and what are they still pushing, and what activism or actions are being taken against such. But right now, though, we just quickly want to take a breather. Speaking to us here is Gary De Silva, who is the chairperson of Fathers for Justice South Africa. And today, we're speaking parental alienation.
From Cape to Cairo, every beat tells a story. It's African Diaries on Channel Africa.
We are still in talks with Gary De Silva, who is the chairperson of Fathers for Justice South Africa. Now, Gary has enlightened us about a couple of things there in our conversation earlier on. And, you know, some truths are really saddening, and I think it's high time we actually get into the stats. see what research has shown. But right now, Gary, I would actually like to find out from you why the lack of faith in the justice system related to the 50-50 contact care and maintenance guardianship.
So Nolo, so circa 2000, so about October of 2019, there was a public request for comment on the Children's Act by the Department of Social Development.
Yeah.
Fathers for Justice presented around the country. We did presentations to Parliament. We submitted both written and oral presentation to government, where we were effectively asking for parental alienation, the automatic 50-50 contact care from contact care, guardianship, and maintenance from birth.
Yeah.
Where mediation must be automatically mandatory, i.e. no other alternative.
Okay.
Because what are you going to be doing when you're going to mediate? Because it's automatic 50-50 contact care, guardianship, and maintenance, what am I going to be discussing? I'm going to be discussing maintenance, and I'm going to be discussing the contact portion. Yeah. Contact is logistics. I drop Johnny off on Friday morning. Mommy collects him from school on Friday afternoon. There's the logistics done and dusted. Maintenance, what does daddy earn? What does mommy earn? Boom. It's a very simple calculation.
Yeah.
The other thing that we asked for is that perjury or false allegations must be automatically prosecuted, and the person and his or her lawyer must be automatically charged for perjury, and perjury carries a fine or a 5 to 10 year prison sentence. And we're saying it has to be done because the courts are being unnecessarily clogged up with false allegations.
Yeah.
And that the judge or magistrate doesn't have the discretion in applying that. The other thing, mediation must be mandatory, perjury, and parental alienation must be classified as the mental, psychological, emotional, spiritual, physical, sexual, coercion, blackmail, intimidation of a child, and thus be classified as child abuse, and the parent, along with his or her lawyer, advocate, psychologist, social welfare worker, please go to jail, have a nice day, and the judge or the magistrate does not have the discretion in applying the sentence. Because when we started out, did we know about parental alienation? Yes, sure we did. Okay?
Yeah.
But it has gone off the rails. And what we are finding now is that those children that were brought up in an alienated environment, okay, is one of two possibilities, main possibilities that come out now. A, they go into an abusive relationship, so the cycle of abuse continues, okay, or they become alienators. So that is the net result of what we are having here. And what do we sit as a society? Oh, look at all the domestic violence. But when you start saying, okay, well, what are we going to do about it? Everybody sits and hands up in the air and doesn't want to do anything about it. Now, the very sad thing is that we were speaking to, I mean, like I communicated with Mrs. Bridget Masongo, who is the portfolio chairman for the Department of Social Development, who we presented to all of these things over the last 5-6 years. It's all gone to nonsense. Now we see that I've seen a document, and I'm so seething because effectively they don't want to do anything about 50-50 contact care, guardianship, and maintenance, and they want to reinforce paying damages under customary law for black fathers. Now that is a huge problem. Who is the single largest group in South Africa that are absent fathers is your black fathers, because a lot of fathers have children out of wedlock, okay?
Yeah.
But what you are doing is that you are making a custom or a tradition or a cultural practice law. And there's a huge problem with that, because Because paying damages under customary law only applies to black fathers. It doesn't apply to white, colored, Indian, Asian fathers.
Yes.
That is unconstitutional.
Yeah.
It is racist. Okay? Either you make all fathers, single fathers or fathers that have children out of wedlock pay damages under customary law, or nobody pays it. Because here is the thing. You can't place an additional legal and financial block to that father participating in that child's life.
I hear you.
Without applying it to all the other fathers. And I'm saying, as a white man, I'm sorry, it's not my culture, it's not my tradition, it's not my practice. I'm not going to abide by it. So you've got a huge problem. You cannot take a cultural thing and make it law, and that is what they're trying to do with the changes. Yeah. And I'm still trying to climb off the wall because I'm so angry. We have presented to the Department of Social Development all the changes. We have personally offered repeatedly to go and sit in with the Department of Social Development and in an advisory capacity of what needs to change.
Yeah.
They've taken the last 5 years and they've chucked it out with the bathwater. It is disgusting what the Department of Social Development has done. And then you have the audacity to turn around and say, look at all these bad fathers. I'm absolutely clear. We have been screaming from the mountaintops. We are here. We acknowledge that there are problems. We have solutions. Are our solutions perfect? I don't know. But if you're not prepared to sit down and talk to me and come to me with alternatives, then you can't be screaming at us and telling us, oh, look at all these bad fathers. In plain, simple terms, fathers in South Africa are simply not the problem anymore. The problem is the Department of Social Development, the Department of Justice, the public prosecutor, and the Family Advocate's Office. And then you've got the child abusing divorce industry, which is a huge problem. We are averaging between 6 weeks and 4 to 6 months to take that we are taking cases that have been in the system 5, 10, 15 years. 6 months later, we've sorted it out. What is the difference between us and lawyers? We come to you with a strategy. We come with a strategy to strategically assist you to get your family, including your ex, out of the legal justice system.
Yeah.
What is the single biggest complaint that I have from fathers every single day? I've paid my lawyer all of this money and I don't hear from him. He tells me that there's a court date. When I get to court, he's not there. They don't tell me about court dates, and then they just tell me, oh, because I was absent, the ruling was made against me. We have fathers spending hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of rands to go to court. For what reason? How many fathers do I speak to on a daily basis? Why are you going to court? No, I don't know.
Sure.
What are you doing going to court? If you don't know what the strategic strategy, what is the purpose, what is the reason for us to going to court, and what is the objective? And I can tell you now, 9 out of 10 fathers can't tell me why they're going to court, but yet they've dumped 50, 60, 100, 200,000 rand to go to court and have a ruling against them.
You know, Gary, all of this is very disheartening, from what you've just listed there. It seems like there's a lot of disparities. But what I do know and what I've come to learn is that Fathers for Justice are not backing down anytime soon. And I do believe that you will still continue with the activism against parental alienation. And, we do hope that one day in the future, we do see the strategies that you guys pose to those lawyers, those family lawyers, those children's courts, and so on and so forth, to be actually implemented into the system. And I'm just happy to know that there are institutions such as Fathers for Justice. But now there's this particular issue that I want to pose to you now, Gary. As you've mentioned that the majority of the most absent fathers within South Africa are the black father, right? And, I'm speaking from a point of knowledge and experience where in that demographics, the black father or the African father seems to be the one that's most absent. And in most cases, unfortunately, they don't even care whether they get the 50-50 contact care, mediation, and guardianship. Okay. What do you have to say to fathers like that, who don't even bother
So,
putting up a fight?
okay, so we must be talking to two different demographics. I speak to African fathers or black fathers, African fathers on a daily basis. Okay.
Yeah.
They are treated like garbage by the family advocate's office and the courts. Okay. The problem that we have with South Africa is we have a collapsed education system. And we've now gone and made it even worse with the Bella Act. I mean, like, it's why we're bothering to send our kids to school in the first instance with the Bella Act. I mean, like, we as Fathers for Justice, we railed against that, and we are already witnessing it. It hasn't even been a full year, and there are already teachers pulling their hair out of their heads with that. But anyway, that's beside the point.
Yeah.
When you look at the true definition of an absent father, a wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, and he's out the door. The true definition of a deadbeat father, you are looking at between 6 and 7% of any given population. Okay.
Yeah.
There's nothing you or I, unfortunately, Fathers for Justice, we have tried to develop a pill to cure stupidity. The science is proving impossible, but you can't do anything about that. When you are looking that protection orders are specifically employed to remove the father out of the home and out of the children's lives, and that the vast majority of fathers don't know that they have a right to oppose and have that protection order and removal order overturned. And by the time the vast majority of fathers have figured it out, it's 18 months, 2 years down the line. And then mommy's lawyer and her psychologist come, and they now want to phase in the contact. Why? Because daddy hasn't bothered to maintain contact with the children.
Oh.
I'm sorry, you've got a restraining order against him. He goes to jail if he comes anywhere near the mother and the child, okay? And not only do you want to add insult to injury, but you want him to pay for the reunification of the child, between the mother and the child. Where was the psychological removal, the slow psychological removal of the father out of the child's life when you impose a fake domestic violence act or restraining order against him? Where was that?
Yeah.
But you want and here is the thing. This is why we are so adamant that where perjury has taken place, the parent, along with his or her lawyer, must go to jail, because that's the only way you're going to stop this nonsense. And we do know that lawyers do advise mothers to make false allegations against fathers with the direct intent to remove the father out of the children's lives. And by the time the father has wiped has come around and found out what's going on, it's 18 months, 2 years down the line.
Yeah.
Then that child is alienated. That child has been mentally, psychologically, physically, emotionally, sexually abused. And that child is destroyed for life. They can actually tell, they've actually got readings of children's, when they do brain scans, of children that are alienated. They can actually pick it up with brain scans of the damage that is done to children. But the reason that the government doesn't want to do anything about it is because between 85 and 90% of all perpetrators of parental alienation are women. And that's where we are very adamant that the Department of Justice, the Family Advocate's Office, the courts are violently, vehemently gynocentric, misandrist, and anti-men.
Gary,
you can't continuously point the finger at fathers and say, look at all these bad fathers. I have dedicated 22 years of my life to fighting this. I speak to hundreds of fathers every week, crying to see their children. Have you ever watched grown men stand in front of you, giants that could crush skulls in a war, and watch them crumble in front of you, breaking down from sheer desperation because they haven't seen their children 6 months, 2 years, 10 years?
It's not a pretty sight. It's not a pretty sight at all.
I speak to fathers all the time that are emotionally and psychologically destroyed. And then you want to say, look at all these bad fathers. Fathers are simply not the problem in South Africa any longer. I'm clear on that point.
Gary, unfortunately, we've run out of time. As a matter of fact, we've gone a little bit over time. You did mention to me earlier on that there is so much to unpack here, and it obviously it's indicative of the amount of work that Fathers for Justice have done. However, I did want to just say, as much as you do believe that once one is found for perjury, the perpetrator and their social workers should go to jail. That could somehow be perpetuating the vicious cycle, Gary, because then it means
you only have to do it once.
To set an example?
To set an example.
Yeah, well, I have a different stance on that, but thank you so much for sharing with us. Are there any parting thoughts you'd like to share with us? And also, where can one desperate father or parent that feels alienated get in touch with you guys?
Okay, so please mediate. It is the clever adult thing to do. It allows for the healing to begin. It puts the power in your hands. You're not handing power over to a stranger. You decide the fate of your family. Yeah. So please, guys, mediation is the clever adult thing to do. Please mediate. It's quick, it's clean, it's neat, it's done properly. To contact us, you can contact us on www.f4j.co.za. Please remember, it's the numeral 4 between the Fathers for Justice, F4J. Yeah. It's not the word 4. And you can WhatsApp me on 066-331-8972, or you can email me at info@f4j.co.za.
Lovely. Thank you so much, Gary De Silva, Chairperson of Fathers for Justice South Africa. All the information you've mentioned there will be listed in the description below on our YouTube live streaming platform. Listen, we're going to take a quick breather and just to digest all that we had to collect from Gary and their stand as an organization, and also just giving us the overall local view on where we are standing as a nation on parental alienation. It's not a pretty sight. However, he did make us aware of the failing justice system in his perspective and also from his experiences. We will be speaking to a family lawyer, a practicing attorney on the other side of this, also just to understand what are those legal implications towards the perpetrator of parental alienation, and also just highlighting that it is a form of child abuse. Stick around.
African Diaries, weekdays, 10 till midnight.